Hello, hello, hello. My name is Kendrick, founder and CEO of MarketPrompt Marketing Services. And today I'm going to be introducing you to social media marketing via paid media through Meta platforms. That's mainly what we use as a marketing agency with home service businesses. I'm just going to be introducing you into this venture, and you will be able to see if this is something that would possibly work for your company or is something that would fit for you rather than what you may already be doing for marketing. So let's go over the statistics and numbers and to see if this is worth it. So I made a little chart here. This is probably your average work effort into business, or at least so what I feel, right? Mainly for a business, you have to build good services and you have to do a majority of marketing. Marketing is a huge factor even when you get to the corporate level, the big groups of businesses, the businesses that you think of off the top of your mind, right? Those groups are spending a lot in ads. So marketing is a important part. We both know this, right? So there's multiple marketing approaches. So we're gonna just go over some. We have paid media at the top, right? We have PPC, which is pay per click, and then we have some SEO, which is like words that you put into your website, essentially, and allows people to be able to search your website based off of reviews or however you do the SEO. And so that's pretty good because you're getting natural traffic and you don't really have to do much or get up or have to do much physical work because we are in a technology based world. Door to door is pretty good. You got some good salesmen. This could be a reliable source, but we don't want to rely on people too much when it comes to marketing. Once you get on a bigger level, it's cheaper, less of a hassle. And if people could come to you, simpler, right? Mail and cards, boards and signs, those basically fall under the same category. Again, they do work, right? Anything marketing wise could work, right? As long as you're putting yourself out there, that's marketing. But they could become a hassle, or you would have to get these printed, and it's a large step for a piece of marketing, and it's something that you would have to re up on or figure out where's the best place, and there's just a lot of trial and effort that has to be put into these sources of marketing. But don't get me wrong, marketing works as long as you're marketing, right? But if we're talking about efficiency, these are the type of sources that you would want to do in a modern day. So, what is paid media? It's basically paying for a media slot. So, whenever you scroll, the AI or however the feed is coded, basically has a certain amount of videos that's going to play for you before a ad shows up. And before that ad shows up is basically a slot. And so when you buy ad, like when you pay for media, when you run ad spend, your ad gets put in that slot based off of the marketing segmentation, based off of whatever you put in, whatever your target market was, right? That's the marketing segmentation. That's the 4 pieces of breakdown. You know who you're servicing, right? So we need home service businesses, right? So you would put a marketing segmentation that would match home servicing businesses, right? So before the ad shows up, basically Meta says, who deserves this ad? Who's a person that is going to appeal to? And then it puts your ad in that slot, essentially. And then they see your ad as if it was a normal post or whatever, right? So that's basically paid media. It's marketing slots, marketing little segments that pop up in the feed when someone's scrolling or whatever. And then, every time you buy a slot or every time you could get filled into a slot because, they're recognizing that that person is your target market, then they see your ad. As simple as that. So what and why social media marketing? You set it up once and it prints. You might have to basically, you might have to re-up. You might have to make some new ads here and there. You might have to check back in or have someone check every 2 months bi-weekly just to make sure that the ads are spending, or if any ads need to be moved out of certain groups when spending ads, because you can have a testing phase and a scaling phase, and that's really it. You just have to swap ads and make sure your page is converting as efficiently as possible. So you might have to do a little testing between those two, but once you learn the platform, it's pretty easy. You're also getting quality leads due to reality. The reality is that most people come home, hop on Facebook, scroll. You know it, I know it, you probably do it, I do it. I'm gonna be honest with you. So, and then on top of that, simplicity. Again, when comparing to the other places of marketing or the other different styles of marketing, I think this one takes the cake for simplicity. Because if you could just sit behind, open up your computer, see how ads are doing, make a new ad, and put it back in there, and just keep testing, or do a little bit of tweaks here and there that might take 30 minutes. I think that's pretty simple for something that you might have to not touch for another month or 2, 3 months. or bi-weekly, as I said, when you're changing the ads. And then on top of that, no marketing embarrassment. You don't have to go door to door. You don't have to give out business cards. Some people like selling, like sales in general. It could break your soul. I'm not gonna lie. Like sales, sometimes sales is the marketing, right? Because you don't know them, so you're selling them onto the product. So, if you're struggling with that, or if that's an issue of yours, hey, social media marketing might be the thing for you because you're not doing too much of the uh, in-person marketing or trying to sell something live. It's just the weight's carried off of your back if you know how to do SMM properly, which is social media marketing. So first, who is Meta? That is our advertising platform. First, you have to know where your market is. There's a lot of places that you can do social media marketing on. LinkedIn, right? They have a social media platform. They have their own little reels, their corporate reels, right? Then you have Instagram. Then you got Facebook. You got YouTube. You can advertise on YouTube, TikTok, if that's where your group is, or even just on Google, right? They have Google Ads. That's more so PPC. If you're running video ads, you're most likely running it through Google. With YouTube, then again, right, you know where your market is. So the thing is, who is Meta? This is Meta, right? They own Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and everything else, right? These are some other apps that you might have seen before. Meta, you might have seen this guy before. He owns it. So there's a platform called the Meta Business Suite, which the Meta Business Suite basically takes care of Instagram and Facebook at the same time. There's Reels. The Reels on Instagram and Facebook are basically shared between each other. So you have about 3 billion on Instagram and 3 billion on Facebook due to the fact that the content is spread amongst them, right? You don't have to do the testing where you have to test on one platform to see if people respond or test on another platform to see if people respond. Now, first-hand case scenario, I can say that Facebook is more likely to respond due to the fact that older people use Facebook because Facebook has been out longer. So that's just a heads up if I could give you. So running ads with social media marketing. This is your quick grasp. First, you have to build a marketing funnel. You're going to get your awareness with the ads. You're going to get the interest with your little landing page so that you can direct their focus onto buying into your services or not, at which they buy or not, and then they convert through your CRM and sign up and give them your information. Sounds easy? It is. So in the Meta Business Suite, you make a portfolio in the settings. You make you a Facebook page. And once you have that Facebook page, you could connect that to an ad account and basically run ads through the page. The page will be like when they click on who's running the ad, it'll show up as the page, as the business. Now, what I would say is before you create your page, at least have two-factor authentication on when creating your Facebook account. And then make sure that you warm up your account by, adding your friends on Facebook. I'm pretty sure you have a good Facebook account, but just make sure you have 2FA on. And if you're really scared, you can also authenticate your account with your ID. So that's just a backup if you really want to, just to prevent yourself from getting banned at all. And so when creating ads, right, now that we know how to basically make our page to run ads, when we're making the ads, we have to die down a little bit. Now, we have these flyer-based ads where they basically have your whole business on the front and it tells them all about it and whatnot. You can't do all that. You have to make it simple, just like this. Now, it still has a UI design. It still has the creatives. The thing is, you have what you do, whatever you're claiming, whatever your bait is, right? Boom. This might grab them more because most people have a fifth grader attention span. If you put all of this in front of their face, they're going to love it, but then they're going to easily get distracted. Like it's a lot in front of their face. They might forget, there's even a type of lesson that we learned in business. A certain amount of words can only go on a slideshow because people forget. So with all this information, people are going to forget. But, you put an ad like this, you have a good bait or good copywriting, you would have no problem. So copywriting being the way that you speak to the prospect when you're advertising to them. Once you create your ads portfolio, you come over here and you have two different campaigns. You have a testing campaign and a scaling campaign. Again, The words speak for themselves. You would be testing in the testing campaign and scaling in the scaling campaign. And you would have two different percentages. Your scaling campaign being most of the ad spend, because you would have to test the ads to see if they work. And the winning ads, which is the ads that probably have the most spend, will go up to a scaling campaign at which you can use most of your ad spend to basically scale them further until they stop responding, meaning the prospects or Meta stops pushing the ad out because people have already responded to it too many times. And then you would leave dynamic creative on so that Meta can basically make alternatives of your ads, basically different carousels if it needed, or different combinations of the copy that you put in when posting your ad. You could leave that on. You would also have to set up data sets so that you could basically track what people are clicking on your landing page, so that when they do convert, Meta can basically take their background data and then feed it into their system and then get you more people that fit their background data. So, if you're looking for homeowners and then homeowner John responded to this and booked a call, then they're going to look for more homeowners like John to book a call so he could paint his walls. Right? Amazing. And then you can have Advantage Plus on for the audience as well. It's just a little tip here, just to basically it'll help find the audience that you specifically need. The Meta Ads Manager is basically broken down into campaigns, ad sets, and ads. So campaigns meaning, it's the whole campaign as a whole, right? The job as a whole, the project as a whole. The ad sets is basically the different settings within the project, right? The different options within the project. And then the ads is what's happening, right? Within the project, right? So you have the project as a whole, different options, and then what's happening on those options. That's basically if I could break it down to you and feed it to you. Now, onto service pages. You do not need a website like this. Again, I probably said this 5 times. This is good if you're doing SEO or PPC where people are actively coming to you about different problems, and then they can basically guide themselves through your store to solve that problem. They're actively knowing that they have a problem and they're actively trying to solve it. So you can have all these buttons on your website because they're not going to get distracted because they are aware that they have an active problem and they're trying to find it. The thing is, when you're advertising and you're trying to get them to buy, when you have that bait and that good copywriting to persuade them to your landing page, you have to make your landing page simple. You have to make it readable, believable, so that the only thing that they want to do is give them their information and leave, right? They give the information and leave. And now you have a new client or prospect that you can follow up with to turn into a client. And so you just want to make them as focused as possible, because we have to remember, when social media marketing, we're the ones trying to grab their attention. So we're the ones that have to lock them in. And so what are you getting out of it? These are the performances. So your social media setup would be setting up the Meta Business Suite, at which we made a video on. Learn copywriting so that you could persuade them into buying to your services. So you have to persuade them to click, and then you have to persuade them why your business is so amazing, right? Copywriting is important. You would learn how to build proper ads and basically build a proper landing page, right? Again, we went over a little bit of the ads on how they have to be simple, and then we went over a little bit on the landing page about how it has to be simple as too. But when you mix that copywriting in, it grabs them and basically runs them down a funnel. It gets them to understand and it gets them to convert, right? So these are the main 3 things that you would probably have to learn marketing wise, but it doesn't take that much time. I made a video on them, and you can basically go back on our page, the funnel intro, and you can learn copywriting yourself. It's not that hard. It's more so a concept. Same with the ads, same with the page. It's not that hard. You might be able to learn this in a couple minutes. And so, in the long run, the only thing you have to do is check how ads are doing, swap them bi-weekly. That's it. Check how ads are doing and swap them. If you have someone making your ads, wink, 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 right? It's that simple. And so, the only thing you have to do, if we're talking about the long run, is just to maximize tweaks, which mean you might do some A/B testing between 2 landing pages just to make sure that you have the best landing page. You might have to, get a concept of how meta ads should be, or how you want your meta ads to be. And just don't get banned. long as you have that 2FA on and your ID connected, no issues. And so your expectations is to have a simple funnel that prints out quality leads, and the only thing you have to do is set up and print and have a good CRM. And overall, it should nullify the stress of marketing. We are MarketPrompt, a remote marketing agency. That's social media marketing via paid media with Meta. My name's Kendrick, founder and CEO of MarketPrompt Marketing Services. If you want this done for you, we dropped a playlist called the Marketing Funnel Intro. It basically shows you everything that you need to do to build a successful social media marketing funnel. Again, visit our website if you want this done for you. Y'all have a good one.